Good morning, everyone. It is Tuesday, September 23rd, right? It's actually my husband's birthday. Super exciting, right? So today we are going to go ahead and get started with bell work again. You should have already gotten your binder. Your bell work is already in it, right? So it should be at the front, easy to find, right? Make sure everyone has this in front of them, right? You can pause it if you need to. Make sure everyone has it. Right, first I'm going to read the question to you, then I'm going to give you a couple of minutes to answer it. This one should be super quick today, right? So Tuesday, right, it says, the table below lists the results of several experiments done in a science class. Identify the evidence of chemical change described in each column, right? So we have three choices: formation of a precipitate, production of gas, change in thermal energy. Write the answers in the correct boxes, right? We're going to read these. Right, first one says, room temperature milk and soda are mixed together. Large white chunks form. Gross. Right, second one, room temperature hydrogen peroxide, a liquid, is added to yeast. The mixture gets warm. Number 3, unknown clear tablets are placed in a glass of room temperature water. The clear tablets give off bubbles. Okay? So you have your notes from yesterday. If you do not understand this question, right, you know where to check, get them out, right? You have about a minute and a half, right? This should be really easy. You're writing these words down here in these boxes where they go, right? So I'm going to pause and give you a second to answer it. Alright, now let's go over this question. Right, notice there was no place to justify it, right? You're good, you just needed to write it in there. Right, so first of all, right, large white chunks are formed. Gross, right? Right, remember our chunks formed from two liquids, right? On our notes, we even wrote this one, Coke and milk, right? A solid is formed, that's called a precipitate. Right, so for production of a precipitate, right? Then we have room temperature hydrogen peroxide liquid is added to yeast. The mixture gets warm. Right? What was that called? Right? That was right here our temperature change. It produces heat and gets warmer. That's an exothermic reaction, right? Which is a change in thermal energy. So I'm going to write thermal energy. Right? Which means our last one has to be gas, right? I know that because it says bubbles, right? So production of gas for that last one. Right? Good review. Make sure you have that on your paper. Right? Yours is correct. Right? I'm going to put this to the side. Right? So today, right, this video is going to be very short because I'm just giving you your instructions. Right? So the first thing that we're going to be doing today is we have a passage we are going to read. Right? It is on this pretty pink colored paper, right, or pinky orange, right? So this is already on your table, right? I set them out already for you, right? Do not write on this, right? I put it on colorful paper to help you remember, right? I'm going to write it on the top. Do not write. Right? Hopefully we figured that out, right? I'm going to pause for a second and make sure that everyone has one of these in front of you. Right? You're also going to need the paper that goes with this. Right? I misplaced mine. Oh, here it is. Right? Pause for a second, make sure everyone has one of these as well. Right? We double check literacy connection. This is the right paper, literacy connection. Right, everyone has one of these in front of them. This white paper you do write on, so put your name, put your class period, put today's date. It is 9/23. Right, so what we're going to be doing today, right, is the substitute is going to be reading this to you, right, going in sections. If there's a volunteer who wants to read, right, she can call on them to read for her instead, right? You're going to go ahead and read all of this, right? Lots of pictures in here, right? It's very interesting, talking about how new things are formed, right? And as you read, right, you're going to be making some notes, right? So on here it says, use the following table to identify evidence in the chemical change from each example from the article. Right, so these are all examples that you're going to be talking about as you read, right? So when you're talking about them, you can make some notes about what's happening here. Tell me the evidence that something new is being formed, right? So when you're talking about fireworks, tell me how you know, right? Fireworks, right? The colors change, right? There is a production of heat, right? Because there's an explosion, right? There's production of light, right? That's something else, something new, right? Alright, so those are just a couple examples that you can write in there, right? As you go, right, I want you to take note of this piece right here, right? This is your evidence, all of this, right? These are the things that you're going to be writing in these boxes, right? Evidence of a chemical change, evidence of a chemical change. Notice it matches, okay? So those are your choices to write in these boxes as you talk, right? Notice each section is labeled, so there's your fireworks section, there's your spoiled milk section, right? And then it goes on the next page to potassium iodine in and lead nitrate, and then baking soda and vinegar. Okay, so you'll take notes as you go. Right? If you don't have time to write as you're reading, that's okay, right? You will do this when you are finished reading, right? And then you'll answer the reflection questions on the back as well, right? So notice it says list the 7 evidences, right? I just showed you those on the other page. They're numbered 1 through 7. Right, at the bottom, right, this is drawing a picture of a chemical change in your daily life, right? This is not one that we have had in the article, right? So you are not listing one of these on the back here, right? I want you to come up with something new. Okay, so you may get started on this, right? Remember, the sub's going to read this to you, right? And then you finish this paper afterwards, you are done, okay? Right? After you finish this, right, I'm going to put this all to the side. Once y'all get done with that, right, remember you still have this paper from yesterday, evidence of chemical changes. It is in your binder. Right? If you did not have time to finish the front and the back of this paper yesterday, you will have time to do that after you finish reading. Right? So if you finish, the sub also has more work for you to do as well. Right? So make sure you're doing your best work. Right? This paper from the article, when you're done, notice it has holes, put it in your binder. Right? Nothing gets turned in today. Right? Y'all be good. Have a great day. Right? Remember, I am here. I am just in the office. Right? So if you are in trouble, you're going to have to come talk to me. Right? So be good. Right? Love you guys. Have a good day.